Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we're going to be taking a look at the Era 1 Premium Heavy, the Thrungva. Or for those of you who know the World War II game mode, the Tier 10 Swedish Heavy, the Kranvagn. Speaking of the Kranvagn, the Thrungva is almost identical, aside from some minor variations in alpha, reverse speed, view range and detectability. This is basically a direct copy of the Kranvagn. I apologise if I'm saying Thrungva wrong. I don't know how it's meant to be said, but I'm going to say Thrungva from now on. So if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But if you like the Kranvagn, then you're going to love the Thrungva. Right now, in store, the Thrungva will cost you 9,396 gold, but there is an earnable discount of 25%, and that will drop the price to 7,000 gold. I've bought this tank for the higher price, which I don't mind because I love it already. But if you want to save yourself some gold, then go ahead and wait for that discount. In a nutshell, the Thrungva is the first true hull-down heavy in Cold War. And that is why I love this thing. For years, we have suffered through the betrayal of the Era 2 Conqueror. I thought that was an enemy light tank, my bad. But now we finally have a true hull-down heavy in Cold War that is worthy of the World War II counterpart, and you can tell it's worthy of its counterpart because in this game you'll notice I'm at some point here I'm fighting an M103. It may have happened already, but he's throwing high explosive at my turret, and my guess is that's an old school World War II player that recognizes the Kranvagn and knows the only way to damage it or chip away at it is to fire high explosive at it. You don't do a whole lot of damage, but hey, that's as good as it gets when you've got this much turret armor. Right, that's enough of that. Let's take a look at the Thrungva in a little bit more detail and compare it to the only other true premium Era 1 heavy in the game, and that is the WZ-111. And yes, I know the FV4201 and its skinned counterpart, they're listed as heavies, but really in World War II they're mediums and they play like mediums, so I don't really count those as heavies, to be honest. Right, Thrungva versus the WZ-111. The Thrungva has 252mm of penetration on standard armor piercing, 300mm of pen on gold heat rounds, and 60mm of pen on secondary high explosive. Both standard and gold will do an average of 430 alpha, while the secondary high explosive will do an average of 565 alpha. The WZ has 248mm of pen on standard, 320mm on gold, and 61mm on secondary. Secondary and gold will do an average of 390, while secondary will do an average of 530. No, I've read that wrong, haven't I? No, standard and gold will do an average of 390, and secondary will... No, I have read that right. What am I on about? I'm getting myself confused here. My apologies. I'll go over that again. Standard, gold, 390. Secondary, 530. There we go. Got through that. My apologies. So, the Thrungva has better standard pen than the WZ, worse gold pen than the WZ, but it does have much better alpha per shot. So, make of that what you will. You know, might not be your bag of tea, but for me it's not really that big a deal. It is worth mentioning here though that the Thrungva is a 3-shot autoloader. I believe the Kranvagn is a 4-shot autoloader, so it's slightly different. This is a 3-shot with a stock reload of 27.8 seconds. That sounds like a lot, but with crew and equipment you can reduce that. I found standard rounds to be a bit iffy, if I'm honest. Bouncing off the frontal weak spot of an M103 doesn't really fill you with confidence, and that is the reason why in this particular game I am firing full gold. There is a 160 meters per second drop in ammo speed between armor piercing and heat on this thing. You go from 1000 meters per second to 840, but that for me is personally something I can live with. Again, you know, we're bouncing shots here left and right. This is great. Right, moving on. The Thrungva and the WZ both have 2200 hit points. The Thrungva will max out at 60 kilometers an hour, while the WZ will genuinely struggle to hit 50. The view range of the Thrungva is 445 meters, WZ is 435 meters, and finally the moving and still concealment of the Thrungva is 465 meters, and 429 meters, while the WZ comes in with 473 meters and 445 meters respectively. At this point, I probably don't need to say it because you already know, I've already said, but I really like this thing. I really, really do like this thing. It's mobile, it's got superb turret armor, and it's very, very hard hitting. This 3-shot autoloader, you can pull in the damage, and that's what I really like about this thing. But it's not so good at pulling in damage that it comes across as broken or overpowered. And on top of everything, on top of it being an okay premium, not broken and unbalanced or anything like that, this thing has 12 degrees of gun depression. It's just like the Kranvagn. This thing is a hull down monster. Now, I'm not hull down here, and an M46 takes me out. So if you get caught out like I did there, you're going to suffer. But that's where you've got to be in control. You've got to make sure your engagements are under your control as much as possible, because this thing truly is it's absolutely superb in the hull down heavy roll. And that is something that we've been missing in Cold War for a very, very long time. And I already mentioned the Conqueror. In World War II, the Conqueror is a hull down beast. And I use the word betrayal. It does feel like a complete betrayal of the Conqueror to be so poorly armoured in Era 2 as it is. It just does not feel right. I wanted the Conqueror to feel like this tank. And finally, we have a superb hull down heavy in this game. It's something that I've wanted for a very long time, and I'm very happy to see this tank, and I'm very happy to see its playstyle in the game. Era 1 has received some love, and it's received love in a way that hasn't broken the era. It is fantastic. I think this is absolutely fantastic. It makes Era 1 even better than it already was. Alright, finally, let's take a look at the economy stats. The Thrungva has a 60% silver boost, 15% tank XP boost, 5% free XP boost, and a 10% crew XP boost. The 60% silver boost there is the highest in Era 1 for premium heavies. It's the WZ also has a 60% silver boost, but given the fact that the Thrungva is a much better tank, this is a far better tank than the WZ, you are going to be making a lot more silver in this thing than you would be normally in the WZ. So with the discount making this thing 7,000 gold, I personally could not recommend this tank enough to people. I know a couple of people have been asking recently what well-armoured premiums are there in the game. Well, there haven't been that many apart from the broken ones in Era 3. FV4-11, yeah, not so much these days. It's got up that the commander's hatch weak spot, so that doesn't make it as strong as it used to be. 477, and you've got the 490, the Belka. Is it the Belka Era 3? You've got those tanks that are way up there in Era 3. This tank, though, is the first well-armoured premium, well-armoured turret premium in, well, I want to say the entirety of Cold War. Yeah. Well, how about that? There you go. If you want a well-armoured vehicle that can play hull down incredibly well, then this is for you. This tank is definitely for you. And if you can hold on to the 7,000 gold discount, then this tank is definitely, it's well worth picking up. Absolutely worth picking up this tank. Okay, folks, that's all I've got for this one. This game is, unfortunately, even though we're 13 versus 7, the two happy campers in B1 decide that playing capture the flag is better than playing tanks, and this game is a cap, so unfortunately we don't get to kill the entire team. But yeah, that it goes that way sometimes. I'm just going to ramble now because I know we've only got 13 seconds left of this game. I do take out the 4005. There we go. That's my last bit of damage for the game. 2 kills, over 4,000 damage, just under 2,000 assists. This tank is very good. I like this tank a lot. And there we go, we cap out. With 3 left on the enemy team, so yeah. Yay for capture the flag. There we go, MVP, and that is all I've got for this video, guys. So if you've enjoyed it, please leave it a like, if not a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.